Something major just happened that could put real money directly into your bank account, and millions of Americans have no idea this is happening right now. President Trump just signed a new executive order that's sending shockwaves through the financial world, and if you're one of the millions waiting for dividend checks or wondering how this affects your finances, you need to hear this immediately because the clock is ticking. If you want to stay ahead of every financial update that could impact your wallet, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss critical information like this. Let me break down exactly what's happening because this isn't just another political headline that doesn't affect your daily life. This executive order has real teeth, and it's already starting to move the needle for ordinary Americans who've been waiting for their share of dividends, rebates, and financial distributions that have been tied up in bureaucratic red tape for months. The timing of this couldn't be more critical because we're looking at potential payments that could range anywhere from a few $100s to several thousand depending on your specific situation, and understanding the details could mean the difference between getting your money quickly or waiting months longer. The executive order that Trump signed focuses on streamlining the distribution process for various financial payments that have been stuck in government processing systems. We're talking about dividend payments from certain investment programs, rebate checks from specific federal initiatives, and other financial distributions that millions of Americans have been entitled to but haven't received yet. The core issue has been the massive backlog in processing these payments through traditional government channels, with some people waiting 6 months or longer for money they were supposed to receive. This new order mandates that federal agencies prioritize these financial distributions and cut through the administrative delays that have been frustrating citizens across the country. What makes this particularly significant is that the order includes specific deadlines and accountability measures. Federal agencies now have a 30-day window to identify all pending financial distributions and create accelerated processing plans. Within 60 days, they're required to have cleared at least 75% of the backlog, and within 90 days, all remaining payments should be processed and distributed. These aren't soft suggestions either because the order includes provisions for departmental reviews and potential consequences if agencies fail to meet these benchmarks. For the first time in a long time, there's actual pressure on government systems to treat these payments with the urgency that everyday Americans deserve. Now let's talk about who this affects because you might be wondering if you're one of the millions who could see money from this. If you've been part of any federal rebate program from the past 2 years, if you hold shares in certain investment funds that have declared dividends but haven't paid out, if you're waiting on settlement payments from class action lawsuits involving federal agencies, or if you've been enrolled in specific assistance programs that promised financial distributions, this executive order applies to you. The scope is actually broader than many people realize because it covers multiple categories of payments that all got caught up in the same bureaucratic bottleneck that's been plaguing federal financial operations. One of the biggest categories affected involves dividend payments from government-sponsored investment programs. Thousands of Americans participated in these programs believing they would receive regular dividend distributions, but the reality has been far different. Processing delays, verification requirements, and interdepartmental coordination failures have left these payments stuck in limbo. Some people have dividends totaling over $5,000 just sitting there waiting to be released. Under the new executive order, the agencies handling these programs are now required to expedite verification processes and move these funds into beneficiary accounts using streamlined procedures that eliminate redundant approval steps. Another major category involves rebate checks from energy efficiency programs and other federal incentives designed to encourage specific consumer behaviors or investments. If you upgraded your home with energy-efficient appliances or made improvements that qualified for federal rebates, you probably submitted your paperwork months ago and have been checking your mailbox ever since. The problem has been that the agencies administering these programs were overwhelmed with applications and didn't have the resources or streamlined systems to process them quickly. The executive order specifically addresses this by reallocating resources and implementing digital processing systems that can handle applications much faster than the paper-heavy systems that have been causing these delays. There's also a significant impact on settlement payments from various legal actions and administrative claims where the government was involved. When individuals win settlements or are awarded payments through administrative processes, actually receiving that money has often taken an incredibly long time. The new executive order requires that once a payment is authorized, the disbursement process must be completed within 14 business days unless there are extraordinary circumstances that need to be documented and justified. This alone could free up millions of dollars that have been approved but not yet distributed to people who've been waiting far too long. What you need to do right now depends on your specific situation, but there are some universal steps that everyone should take. First, if you've been waiting for any kind of payment from a federal agency or program, contact that agency immediately and reference the new executive order. Having this reference point can help move your case up the priority list because agencies are now actively looking to clear their backlogs. Second, make sure all your contact information and banking details are up to date in whatever system is processing your payment. Many delays happen simply because agencies can't reach people or don't have current direct deposit information. Third, document everything including when you applied, what you were told, and every interaction you've had regarding your payment. This documentation becomes crucial if your case falls into that small percentage that still faces delays even under the new streamlined process. The financial impact of this executive order could be substantial not just for individuals but for the broader economy. When you add up all these delayed payments across millions of Americans, you're looking at potentially billions of dollars that could suddenly flow into household bank accounts over the next few months. This kind of influx has real economic effects because people tend to spend money they've been waiting for rather than saving it, which means increased consumer activity that can ripple through local economies. Small businesses could see upticks in sales, service providers might see increased demand, and overall economic activity could get a noticeable boost just from finally releasing these payments that should have gone out months ago. There are some important details in the executive order that reveal how seriously this is being taken. For instance, agencies are required to submit weekly progress reports showing how many payments they've processed, how many remain in the queue, and what obstacles they're encountering. These reports go directly to oversight committees that have the authority to redirect resources or implement additional measures if progress isn't being made. There's also a provision that allows for bringing in temporary support staff or contractors specifically to help clear these backlogs, which means agencies can't simply claim they don't have enough people to get the work done. One thing to watch out for during this process is scammers who will inevitably try to take advantage of the situation. Anytime there's news about government payments going out, fraudsters start calling and emailing people claiming they need to verify information or pay processing fees to receive their money. Remember that legitimate government agencies will never ask you to pay a fee to receive money you're owed, and they won't request sensitive information like your social security number over unsecured phone calls or emails. If someone contacts you claiming to help expedite your payment in exchange for a fee or personal information, that's a scam. Always go directly through official agency websites or verified phone numbers to check on your payment status. The timing of this executive order is also worth noting because it comes at a moment when many Americans are feeling financial pressure from various directions. Whether it's inflation affecting everyday expenses, interest rates impacting loans and mortgages, or just the general uncertainty about economic conditions, having access to money that's rightfully yours becomes even more important. These aren't handouts or new benefits but rather payments that people have already earned or qualified for through legitimate programs and processes. Getting this money into people's hands isn't doing them a favor but rather fulfilling obligations that should have been met months ago.